Gottlieb joining us here on a Thursday. But by the way, I missed the fourth quarter last night. There was a big celebration in my hometown, and everybody was doing stuff. I watched the first half and a little of the third, then I conked out. I know, it's pathetic.
We're not on the East Coast anymore, Colin. We're on the West Coast. You get the benefit of it. That was the game of the year.
You thought that was the game of the year?
So far, yeah. It's played at an incredibly high level. Jason Tatum hit a 3 to send it to overtime where he made Paul George fall down with a little bump and step back move. I thought Lou Williams was arguably the MVP for the Clippers. Patrick Beverley played off the basketball, but showed why he has to be on the floor to make shots. I don't think anything less of the Celtics. I thought they got a couple of calls that went against them in regulation and in overtime.
Sure.
But the Clippers are real, man. And Paul George fits perfectly into what they want to do and how they want to do it. And though Kawhi Leonard, didn't make as many shots as he's made at other times in San Antonio and Toronto, his ability to dominate at both ends of the floor and command attention and willingness, both of them have a willingness to share the basketball with Lou Williams and Patrick Beverley. Clippers and Lakers are the two best teams in the NBA right now.
Let's talk. You were when you left college basketball, you were 7th all-time in assists. You play basketball today at a very high level. You're a great player at the Hall of Fame induction on Sunday. LeBron's always, like Michael wasn't a point, but late in games, Michael had the ball. Kobe wasn't a point, but late in games, sometimes in the triangle, Kobe would have the ball. I'm not saying LeBron went from Tristan Thompson to point guard. But point guard is the hardest position on the floor in modern basketball. You've got to go 100 miles an hour, guard the best athletes, be the coach. By the way, you better be able to shoot a 3. What LeBron's doing, Doug, is pretty remarkable year 17 transitioning to more point guard. I'm kind of not blown away by it, but it is pretty impressive as a former point guard.
Yeah, he's not really any different than he's ever been. He still dominates the basketball, and what they've done by changing the lineup, playing Alex Caruso more, allows LeBron to guard the power forward. So he's not really not guarding the point guard and playing point guard. He's had to learn to kind of change his pace. He was playing way too slow.
Yeah, he was.
Early in the season. But I think putting Caruso into the lineup, having Rondo back as well, having other point guards who can cover the guard so he can be just a help defender and he can be the voice in the back of everybody's head where everybody should be.
Well, he clearly is when you watch him.
No, look, I want to make sure this is clear. LeBron James is playing great.
Insane.
Great. He defers to Anthony Davis so that Anthony Davis can feel a part of it. He's probably at times their 4th or 5th best defender, but his energy, his attention to detail, his demand for everybody else's energy and attention to detail, he's leading this team.
This is a real thing. If you've not watched the Lakers, last year I thought sometimes LeBron, as Doug said, played slow, was a little distracted.
Well, no, even this year, look, when you play professional basketball, you learn as a point guard, you got to get the ball in the front court. You don't just have 8 seconds to get it past midcourt.
Right.
You get 24 seconds.
You want to get it by 4.
Yeah, we want to get, especially in the way the NBA is played now, where you get multiple actions. You want to get multiple actions, and then maybe LeBron playing downhill. He was playing so slow early in the year because he was adjusting to playing the point guard position that it essentially became LeBron James dribbling the ball up the court, kind of old school NBA. Here's a ball screen, everybody spread out. And that's not really what they want to do.
Right.
Now he's really bought into, I got to play faster, let somebody else bring it up, and then I'll get it, and I'll be the guy who instigates the offense. But he's in great shape. He's sharing the basketball. He's setting everybody else up. He's allowing Anthony Davis to flourish. He's allowing others to guard the guards because he physically can at this point. And they've gone from a complete dumpster fire. Last game of last season, Magic Johnson retires. LeBron James is unhappy. You got all those guys that knew they had to be traded. What are they going to do? I think they're the best team in the NBA, even with the Clippers, because they're playing the best defense of anybody in the NBA, and they have a LeBron James and an Anthony Davis to bail them out.
Let me talk about, I said this, we're calling it Hua Gets Tua. I did this morning, I went down in 11 teams, I think 5 urgently, but there's a lot of Charger stories, there's a lot of Carolina stories, there's Indianapolis, there's Minnesota. Minneapolis, the Vikings and the Colts have a guy for a year, but if you really behind closed doors did a poll, Tua was available, I think they take him for a year. I don't think he drops because last year of the last 11 quarterbacks taken in the first round, 10 times a team's moved up to get one. I think we're going to have a bidding war for him, despite his injuries.
Well, I think anyone who says they know right now is lying to you. It's all going to come down to the medicals. If the medicals are clean and he's fine, then I agree with you. Then I think he could have incredible value. And remember, there's going to be some adjustments to Tua. Will he be ready to go? Week one, are you going to sit him for a year? Also, remember, he's left-handed. He'd be the only left-handed quarterback in the National Football League. There are no other. So would you have to change not just your scheme, but also your offensive line in terms of having a right tackle be at the level of your left tackle?
Sure.
And then there's the concern. He is Polynesian. He is Samoan. Is he going to gain weight? Because of his body type, because of his genetics while he's sitting out. But it all comes down to the medicals, all of it. I talked to two GMs who both should be in the market for a quarterback, and they're like, I have no idea because I haven't seen the medicals. And until we see them before the draft, you can't make any determination. It's the hip. Is it Bo Jackson or is it nothing? And if you don't think the hips are important, what's the dance that everybody's making fun of? It's Dak Prescott. You throw the football with your hips, not with your arm. Plus, it's a mobility thing. Plus, is it degenerative? All of these things, all of this discussion, and no disrespect to what you're thinking, because you're right, he could have incredible value. Until you see the medicals, until you see how it heals, nothing else matters.
So I'm looking at the Cowboy-Patriot game. And the line is 6.5. And we went through units this morning. Outside of the secondary, Dallas has a better O-line, linebackers, weapons, it's not close, even tight end this year. They have the star running back. Dak's outplaying Tom Brady at this point statistically. And then you go through all of it, and Foxborough's worth 3. It's 6.5. That feels like a Belichick line over Jason Garrett, and everybody, including the owner of the Cowboys, who's been in this league for 30, 40, they get it. Like if Dallas loses and it's not pretty, I think Jerry gets on that 3.5-hour Gulfstream and has real discussions with Stephen Jones about Garrett's future.
Well, I think those discussions are already being had. I think you're accurate there. They haven't beaten a team that's a playoff caliber team. And if the Eagles lose to the Seahawks, they don't have one win over a team that's above 500.
It's incredible. You're like, I thought Dallas is good. Maybe they're not at all.
Well, now listen, teams have been built on the success of beating bad teams before. The San Francisco 49ers, it's not like they've run through so far. They have 3 really difficult games, but they played a soft schedule. Carolina Panthers, when they went to the Super Bowl, they only beat one team in the regular season. They were 15-1, 14-2. They only beat one team with an above 500 record. So it has been done before. But you're right. For the Cowboys, considering they think this is or thought this was a Super Bowl year, to not being able to beat any of the good teams on their schedule would be at least a disappointment. Probably doesn't matter because they make the playoffs anyway. But the idea for Jerry to be playing on the road in the playoffs when you played all this money for a running back, you're going to pay all this money for a quarterback and for a wide receiver, and you paid for a linebacker. The big thing is the defense isn't doing any good. The defense isn't stopping anybody.
I know. And they're not. And the other thing that you worry about, I always look at this. This is what I worry about Green Bay. Are you taking the ball away? Because taking the ball away means you're making the offense uncomfortable.
Right.
You're hitting hard. You're stripping, pursuit, interceptions. When you're not taking the ball away, it tells me the quarterback's comfortable. Dallas doesn't take the ball away.
Well, the 3 most important stats in modern football are not gross yardage, net yardage, any of that stuff.
Right.
It's takeaway, it's third down conversion percentage, and it's red zone conversion percentage, right? And if you're not doing those things well, what are you doing? And you look at how easily Detroit was able to score with a backup quarterback. Remember, Matt Stafford did not play last week,
right? And
Detroit pushed them.
Yeah, Jeff Driscoll moved the ball.
Right. So the question becomes, do they have enough defensively to win on the road in Foxborough going against Tom Brady, who feels like offensively, hey, I don't have enough weapons. Instead of the immovable object against the irresistible force, it's the movable object against the resistible force in Foxborough.
By the way, I think the NFL is it's in a really interesting space. So we have 3A prospects coming in, quarterback prospects. Next year, we have 2 could be better than all of them, Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields. So we have 5 world-class prospects. We've got 14 teams. Now, I'm not a Baker guy or a Josh Allen guy, but we've got 14 young quarterbacks. I would say 10 I'm all into. I do count Derek Carr and Garoppolo. They're both the same age, 27-ish. And then we have some legends, Tom, Breeze, Ben, and then we have the middle guys, Aaron Rodgers, Matt, and Russell Wilson. There's this thing happening where we're all just about ready to say, gotta be Kyler Murray. This is the future. And I want to say it, and I think it's true because of how offensive lines have eroded. but are we being hyperbolic and overreacting?
Yes.
Are we?
Yes.
Are we going crazy? Because we did
Yes.
this about 6 years ago with Kaepernick. I referendum the league, and all of a sudden Brady's at the Super Bowl, wins it every year.
Well, no, I mean, I heard you on this rant yesterday, and it was basically, hey, because Phillip Rivers can't move, you have to have a movable quarterback. Like, Phillip Rivers has been a bad athlete before he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
Then he tore his ACL, and now he's in his late 30s. Like, he can't move back there, and he's still been really, really effective for a long time. Keep in mind, he didn't have either tackle when they're playing in Mexico City on Monday night, and they still nearly won the game in spite of the fact that he had 4 interceptions, right? But the idea, yes, you have to be able to move. I mean, like, look, Kirk Cousins' season turned around when they figured out if you have him move, especially to his left, he's really, really good setting his feet. Russell Wilson, I still think you need to be accurate from the pocket and accurate throwing the football. Like, I understand Lamar Jackson the last 3 weeks has been spectacular.
Yes.
Okay, but history should be our guide. And history tells you after about 20 games, you better start being more accurate. And if you're not, the league does catch up to you.
Yeah.
Is he Mike Vick with clean off the field? Yeah, he appears to be, right? He appears to be completely in on being a better quarterback than Mike Vick was.
With a Hall of Fame coach.
With a Hall of Fame coach and a team that isn't fighting. Remember, when the Redskins had RG3, they let him play his Baylor style for a year, and they're like, now let's make you an NFL quarterback.
That never felt like Washington loved his style.
They didn't. They didn't. They drafted Kirk Cousins, and they liked Kirk Cousins better.
But Harbaugh's
like, you know what? Let's just go all in. What the hell? And the great thing about Lamar Jackson is he's not having to relearn how to play the position like an NFL quarterback. He's doing what he's always done.
Yeah.
The question becomes, does he get hit? Does he get hurt? They've all gotten hit. They've all gotten hurt. Hell, Cam Newton's the biggest body we've ever seen play the position as a running quarterback, and he's broken down and almost out of the league at 30 years old. So, look, I hear you. I do think you have to have great pocket mobility, but remember, you're judging Tom Brady, who can't move, and Ben Roethlisberger, and Eli Manning. Those guys have played longer than anybody else. So I still think that the pocket quarterback or the quarterback who can throw and throw accurate, like a Kyler Murray, like I'm more in on Kyler Murray than I am Lamar, because that dude can throw. He's tiny, but he can move. But man, can he throw and throw accurately and with great velocity.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.